This is Prophet Blake, and you are listening to Worship Radio International, the world.
And welcome to Let's Fix It with Chenuda. I need you to sit back today and take some copious notes as we provide you with some awesome solutions to your financial matters. Invite your friends, family to join us. And if you're watching this live on Facebook, please share, share, share. Sharing is caring. I am Chenuda Harris, your financial specialist, offering solutions to your financial matters. Today, I want to dedicate the show to the children that are returning to college and to school all across the country. And we're asking God's peace and protection to be with each and every one of them through this school year. Also, we want to ask God's blessing upon each teacher and educator as they educate our children. This is so important. Now let's get down to business and talk about credit myths. Over the last couple of weeks, I've had lots of people just talking about different things that they really didn't know about credit. But before I break into that, I just want to say that over this past weekend, I had the pleasure of sharing a platform with one of Worship Radio International's authors as well as platform personnel here, Miss Linda Hunt from Amen Sister. She's the author of a book that sold on Amazon, and she had a wonderful workshop for women, just getting the women together in reference to getting their minds, body, and soul together in terms of becoming business oriented for the marketplace. And you can catch her show here on Worship Radio International on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So check her out. She's got some awesome information and she's going to connect you to some awesome business people. Just wanted to give her that big shout out and a big thank you. Now, on to our topic. Now, I stated we were going to talk about some credit myths. Here are some things that people are just like totally unsure of and not really aware of in reference to credit. Let's start with this one. Credit is impossible to get if you don't already have it. False. That is a false statement. All you need is a secured credit card to start assisting with the credit build process. Then you want to pay your bills on time and keep your limit under 30% of the limit. Once your credit score goes bad, can it ever be rebuilt? Yes, it can. You have to do some credit repair in some cases, or you have to do some budgeting and adjust some of your spending habits. Sometimes it just takes us to be a little bit more disciplined in what we're doing in our spending in order to get us an increase in that credit score. You can't go out and just start applying for a number of credit cards or applying to buy cars, homes, and your credit is just steadily plummeting, because every time you do that, you're going to take a hit in terms of your credit. Your score is going to drop tremendously. And if you do it so much, it definitely will plummet. Checking your credit score. Does it hurt? Well, as I stated before, you constantly applying for credit can damage your score. It can be damaging. If you need to take a look at what is on your credit report and what is impacting your credit, you get one credit report a year. And you go to www.annualcreditreport.com and you're allowed to pull one with no penalty. Hard inquiries can impact your score anywhere from 5 to 10 points. And that goes back to when you're applying for these credit cards and different offers that might come in your mail. Be careful. For example, um, like I was saying in reference to the credit card companies, you have to be careful of how many of those offers that you are responding to, because that can be damaging. The government does not own the credit bureaus. A lot of people think that they do. However, I will say this: so many things that we do is impacted by the credit bureaus. You can't buy a car, you can't buy a house, you can't turn on your utilities, car insurance here in Michigan. Those things are all impacted by credit. So it's just a matter of you really sitting down and being disciplined with your spending, getting yourself together in reference to um, your credit. Once a delinquent loan or credit balance is paid off, can that item be removed from your credit report? Negative items can be removed, and they don't have to stay on that credit report for 7 years. A lot of people tend to think that they do. There is no law that states that. The same thing with the bankruptcy rule. Many of us have been led to believe a bankruptcy has to stay on your credit report 7 to 10 years. That is false. Once a bankruptcy is discharged, it can be removed off of your credit report, which will give you an increase in your credit score. So, if you need more information on that, if you just so happen to be in a situation where your bankruptcy is discharged, or even you're contemplating bankruptcy, we need to have a conversation, because it might be a possibility to save you some money in the interim before you even file bankruptcy. So let's definitely have that conversation. And speaking of conversations, if you need to get in contact with me, my phone number is 734-752-8818. Also, you can reach me on Facebook. I am Chenuda M. Harris on Facebook and Chenuda on Instagram. And my email address is Chenuda Harris Chenuda Harris at gmail.com. And I will be able to answer your questions. And if you need a consultation, my consultation advice is definitely free of charge. And we definitely need to get you in a position with the right information to make sure that you are making the right decisions for your situation. So let me move right along here with some more myths. If the bills are paid on time, can are you still accountable to have them? If your bills are late, will it be reported to the credit bureau? And how soon will it be reported to the credit bureau? I'm sorry. Um, if your bills are late, if you're paying on that due date, that's the date that they are reporting to the credit bureau. So I strongly suggest people to always process their bills at least 2 to 3 days before that date, so you can allow ample time for processing, especially if you're doing it online, because it's not instantaneous. If you're doing like an automatic deduction from your checking account, it does take a couple of business days for that transaction to complete. So therefore, you don't want to be charged an astronomical late fee for something that you're already gotten the process. And in the event that you are processing it prior to that due date and you are charged that late fee, call the companies and work with them, because they will work with you to remove the late fee if you indeed started that process prior to that due date. That is so important. Couples, if you are going through a divorce and you have had joint accounts, if you and your spouse have taken on a house together, taken on whatever bills, a car together, yes, that is your credit and that other person's credit. It's going to be on both accounts. So you have to make sure that it's taken care of. Otherwise, you're both still are going to be held accountable for those payments. It doesn't go away because the relationship goes away. It does stick and stay. Okay? Now, a lot of people get confused about a divorce decree in reference to how the accounts are split when they're open during the marriage. So it doesn't break your obligation to the lenders. If one is unable to pay, it does impact your credit score negatively and could have adverse effects on once the divorce is final. You go your way, the other person goes their way, and you go to apply for something, and you still have this bill that you both created on your credit report. So please do your due diligence to make sure that those things have been taken care of properly. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're going to have to do some repair in the process in order to have those items removed. The three credit reports and credit scores will be the same on all credit reports. False. The reporting dates are not in sync with each other, and the systems for all three credit bureaus are different. That is one reason why you will have a different score with TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. They will always be different because their systems are different. So just keep that in mind. The best way to improve your score is to pay off all of your accounts. Wrong. That is not the best way to improve your score. A lot of people think that, okay, I've ran up this bill, I've maxed out this card, let me pay it off versus just paying it down. If you pay your debts down to anywhere from 20 to 30%, you're definitely going to see an increase in your credit score, which is going to help you significantly as you go on your financial journey to increase your score. Bad credit, does it impact your employment? Yes, it can. Here in the state of Michigan, I do know that people that work in the financial industry, such as like casino workers, the banks, if you don't have a good credit score, they can terminate your employment or not even hire you. So they do offer like a special programming for you to get yourself in a better situation financially and to increase your score. But those are some key factors when you are looking at applying for jobs that are in those industry. Take a look at your credit report because that may or may not it can cause you not to get a job that you so desire. And I would hate to see that. So I know that in a couple of shows we've had discussions in reference to the credit score breakdown. And I'm going to break it down once again because it's so important that we understand what comprises our credit score and what how it does impact the calculations. So 35% of your credit score is comprised of your payment history. So if you're paying your bills on time, that's going to help. However, if you're late, that's going to take away. 30% is the amount owed. So therefore, if you're maxing out your credit cards, that's going to impact your score. If you go through and close out your accounts, the length of your credit history makes up 15%. That's going to take away from your credit score as well and drop it significantly. And we were stating earlier about inquiries and new credit. It makes up 10%. So therefore, if you are doing lots and lots of applications, those inquiries do count against you. So on average, if a person is going to buy a car, for an example, a car dealer will run your credit through about 6 to 10 banks. to see which one is going to give you the best interest rate and the best deal. And each time that they do that, that impacts your score negatively. So therefore, I always suggest when someone's getting ready to go buy a car that you know for sure what your credit score is. So when it does impact your score, you're already set and prepared. 10% of your credit score is comprised of revolving credit and charge cards, meaning your Kohl's, Lane Bryant, those are considered charge cards because they're only valid at those stores. Your credit cards are your Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover. And then also your installment loans, such as your car payments, your mortgage payments, that is the breakdown of what they mean by mixed accounts. So if you have a variation of all of those things, that does help with your credit score. Then also you want to be mindful of your debt to income ratio. So therefore, if you make $50,000, you don't want to have $250,000 in debt because it's going to take you a very long time to pay that debt off. And then 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be the person that a bank or a financial institution is going to look at as being financially stable. So therefore, they're not going to extend credit to you very easily because your debt to income ratio is too high. Paying off your credit cards, as I stated earlier, that cuts off that history when you do that. So let's just say, for instance, you're coming to the end of your mortgage or you're coming to the end of your car payment. You're going to have to replace that debt with something else in order to maintain that credit score because you could potentially take a hit because that credit history will no longer be there once you pay it off. Yes, we always like to think that yes, it's great to get rid of a bill. In some cases it is, but a lot of times just pay it down to as little as possible in order to maintain your credit score intact. Some people think that when they get married, their spouse's credit becomes joint. It only becomes joint when that person becomes an authorized user or you all are on joint accounts. And then that's when I shared earlier that it does appear on both credit reports. In the event that you are getting a divorce, you will see it impacted on both reports. A better job, does it mean a better credit score? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Um, some jobs do have an impact on your credit score. It just depends on the field that you are working in. Now, here's the other question. If you don't use your credit cards, and what happens? You still have that history of you having that credit card. And I always say, like, I have a couple of credit cards personally that I've had for over a couple of years and I've never used them. So it's wise for me to go and put at least $10, $15 of something on there. So I have that utilization as well as that card is just not sitting dormant and doing nothing. It shows responsibility that I used the credit that was extended to me. One late payment, will it impact your score? Let me say this, a 30-day late payment can drop your score 50 points. So I know that life tends to happen to us all, and sometimes we have the unexpected incidentals that may come up where we have to take our bill money to do something, like, say for instance, something unforeseen like the furnace goes out in the dead middle of winter is 0 degrees. Well, you got to get the furnace fixed. So therefore Visa might have to wait a minute before you can pay Visa, or your car payment. Something might have to give if you don't have extra to sacrifice for that. So yes, that can impact your score negatively, but truly be careful if you are going to be late, the length of time that you're late, and try and catch it up as quickly as possible so it doesn't continue to put you in a downward spiral and put you behind the eight ball, because we want to stay in front of the debt, right? Credit Karma. A lot of people have asked, is Credit Karma good? Credit Karma is not accurate. They will give you a score that's relatively close to your credit report, but is not 100% accurate to your credit report. So definitely, when you're looking at Credit Karma, be careful, because that's not always true. I hear a lot of people say, well, I checked my Credit Karma and Credit Karma says, so just to give you my contact information again. So in the event that we need to have some conversations, because I know that lots of you have questions, my phone number is 734-752-8818. My my Facebook is Chenuda M. Harris. My Instagram is Chenuda, and my email address is let's fix it with Chenuda at gmail.com. Now, I've also stated that I am helping 500 people become financially empowered this year. You guys, we are approaching September. The year is almost over. We still have time to assist you. So please don't wait till the last second. Let's get this done. If you have aspirations of purchasing a home, and you have aspirations of purchasing a car, or just simply getting your finances in order, let's have these discussions, because this is so key to getting you on that journey. And I definitely want to assist our Worship Radio International viewers and listeners, because it's near and dear to my heart as a part of this platform to be able to share with all of you. Um, I want to leave you with a couple of things. One, we always talk about leaving an inheritance. We have to get our finances in order, folks, because so many of us are leaving here without the necessary documents and things that we need in place for our families. The Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the sinner's wealth is laid up for the righteous. Proverbs 13:22. And I just want to challenge you guys. Make sure that if you are having some questions about your credit, just the smallest, simplest of questions, let's talk. I want to assist, and I want to be able to help you with your situation. And as we get ready to close out the show, I'm going to leave you with my information once again, but I'm also going to leave you with something else. But first, before I leave you with the something else, I encourage you that I am available for networking events, church gatherings, organizational meetings as well. And I encourage small businesses to book me. These are some awesome benefits that I have to offer employees that will help benefit your employees at your businesses. And some of the best engagements for me are large groups, because this information needs to be shared amongst the masses. We try to provide financial solutions to your financial matters, which is so key and important. So once again, my phone number is 734-752-8818. My email address is let's fix it with Chenuda at gmail.com. So as we close, God, I know you can do all things, and that all things are done through Christ who gives us strength. I want to get out of debt, but I need your help. Lead me by your wisdom as I begin this journey. Help me change my habits and my mindset. Work through me and others so I can eliminate all of my debt. Lead me to a place where I can be in position to give more to others. That is so powerful. If those words impacted you, let's talk. If they don't impact you and you know someone that does need my assistance, definitely reach out to them and or reach out to me, and we will deal with that accordingly. So, as we close out the show, until God says the same, till next week, have a wonderful week.
This is Prophet Blake, and you are listening to Worship Radio International, the world's #1